You know, Einstein said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very convincing illusion. So what is reality actually? What does it actually mean when we say in reality? It's fascinating to me that, as you are all no doubt aware, I am fascinated by psychology, philosophy, quantum physics, metaphysical understandings, you know, range of all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff. And in the process of understanding or wanting to understand those things, I find it rather fascinating that each one of those, in its own way, gives a different view of reality. You know, religious reality is that this world is not the real life, this is not where it really happens. You have to wait till you're dead. Then when you're dead, you'll have a word with the creator or one of the creator's accountants, who will then toll up whether you've been good or bad and decide whether you're going downstairs into the rather warm basement or whether you're going upstairs into the blissful holiday type place. Heaven and hell. That's a reality for so many people. There's the reality of some people are just lucky. You know, they have a lot of luck. My luck sucks. That's reality for some people. That they're just really unlucky people. They just, good stuff doesn't happen for them. And then there's the reality of truth. And I find that one of the most fascinating, I think. The reality of truth. Meaning, I hold this as true. But how many things have you held as true, as in this is how reality is, that later on turned out to be complete crap? I know I have. And I've got several things in my life that have been that way, that seemed to be the truth at the time and then weren't later, right? They're all different. So the thing about reality is, what I want you to do is I want you to think about a con man. Now, most of us have an understanding of con men not from studying psychology or the language of persuasion or any of those kinds of things, but rather from movies. And that's okay, because that's enough. That's all you need right now. But if you think about a con man or con woman, how does a person con somebody else? Well, they convince them of a certain reality. They convince them that this thing is real. Now, that thing that they're convincing you is real could be a threat. The threat is very real. And now we have to go against the axis of evil, and you must join us, and if you're not with us, you're against us. They convince you that something is real, even when it's not. And it becomes the reality. It becomes the reality that everybody of a certain faith must be at least latently evil. It becomes, I mean, by the way, I actually wasn't talking about the present situation with the Muslims. I'm thinking about back in history. That was true for the Jews. That was true actually even for the Christians. It's been true for most religions at some point in time. But if you were part of that religion, you were part of the evils. You were part of, you know, those people who were no good. So reality is simply a con. The better you are at the con, the more real it seems. The challenge is, the one conning you is you. Ish. Is you-ish. Meaning, the ego cons us constantly. I'm in the gym, working out, and it's very clear that, you know, there are some people who go in there and they work out and they do their thing and it's good. That there are some people who work out, and I've seen these guys in the gym, they're working out with a trainer. And the trainer's a good trainer, which they're rare, by the way. And the trainer is training them in how to do this in a correct way. Meaning they've been doing the exercise, but doing it in a way that wasn't effective or maybe even potentially damaging. And the trainer shows them how to do it in a great way. And they get it down. Like, so they practice it with the trainer and they're able to do that movement so well that it's so good for the muscle and it's working perfectly. And they're really going to, like, this is going to get them results. And they continue to do that. And now they're sort of in the flow with that, and it feels good, and they feel like, okay, I've trained my brain, I've changed my muscle to do this, this is good. And so they let go of their trainer. And that's okay, let go of the trainer. And then they start doing it themselves. And by whatever means, now let's remember, I'm watching this, I've seen this, and by whatever means, you know, I might have to glance over at that person in 3 months, maybe less, after the trainer has gone away. And what kind of workout do you think they're doing? You guessed it. They've gone back to the old one that didn't work. They went back to the default. So what's the con? How do you con yourself into going back to something that doesn't work? I'll tell you how you con yourself. By telling yourself you're doing something different. That's the con. The con is when you do the same thing, but tell yourself you're doing something different. That's where we got to catch the con. What do you think you're doing different that actually is the same thing? Because when I ask you the question, what the fuck is reality? That's what I'm asking you to take a look at. How are you conning yourself into believing something that may in fact be a bag of shit? And not only are you conning yourself into believing it, but you're happily paying for it. You believe it's true and you'll pay. And what's more is when confronted with the fact that you've conned yourself, you may in fact turn on the person who confronted you, because if you were to admit that you've been conned, you'd feel like a fool. And most people are not strong enough to own that they were behaving like a fool. So the con works. And the more invested you are in the con, the more you will commit to it, and you will fight anybody, even the people who love you, the people who care about you, the people who want to kick your ass and help you to be better. You'll fight them all. Because that investment in the con is the investment of the ego. And the ego cannot bear to look stupid or wrong. So my question to you, my curiosity to you is this. How can you get curious about how you are conning yourself? Telling yourself something means one thing when it means the other. If you're not sure about this, go look at anything. I mean absolutely anything. Any situation. And ask 5 people. Let's be in a bar. We used to play this as a game. Be in a bar, be in a club, be in a social environment. Take a look at people interacting. Take a look over at a couple. And 5 of you, 4 of you, 3 of you, make up a story about that couple. You'll all make up a different story. That's how you look at the world. And more importantly, that's how you look at yourself and the stuff you tell yourself. So, until next time, Dov Baron, Full Monty Leadership. Stay curious, my friends. Stay curious about how you are buying your con.